everybody. Welcome in. Thanks for joining our very first webinar about Is South Carolina Right for Me? And my name is Mark Klim with the Livin Carolina Team. We've got Jeff Gregg right next to me here. He's my partner guru, also from the Livin Carolina Team. And then the guy on the other end is Mr. Jerry Garner. He is from Mutual of Omaha, and he's one of our lender extraordinaires. Is that good?
That's perfect. Thank you.
Promotion. Lender guru, now it's extraordinaire.
Extraordinaire. That's right.
I think that's up.
So today we're going to talk about all kinds of stuff about living in South Carolina, particularly around the 55 plus active adult communities, what it's like to live here, taxes, property insurance. We're going to hit on all kinds of stuff here. And, like this picture here is one of the 55 plus communities right here in Summerville, South Carolina, along the coast. So that just gives you an idea of what resort style living is like here in South Carolina. We're going to cover, the top active adult communities. We're going to go over cost of living, alligators and hurricanes. Those are some of the biggest questions that we get all of the time. Over in the comments, you should see a comments tab, I believe. Feel free to ask questions throughout this webinar. We want to throw those questions up on the screen and answer those as long as they're webinar appropriate and everything. We'll try to do that, and Jeff and Jerry will all chime in and try to get those answers for you. At the end of this webinar, there'll be a QR code where you can book a one-on-one Zoom call with Jeff and I, and we can kind of go over more in detail your specific situations. But if there's questions you don't mind asking, definitely throw them in the comments there. If you don't mind, tell us where you're watching from right now in the comments field so that we know where you're tuning in from. But we'll also go over purchasing a home with or without selling, and financing options, all the different options, including Jerry's going to go over one with no monthly payments. So that is a great product that Jerry has that we're going to dive deep into as well. So let's go ahead and get started. And on this slide here, we're just going to park here for a few minutes. Really, the 55 plus is like living like you're on vacation with resort style amenities like you see in this picture. We have 7 different active adult communities, many which contain resort style amenities like this. Jeff, you have always said on our YouTube channel, Livin Carolina and at Charleston Area Living, that you are going to live in one of these places, whether your wife wants to or not, right? You're gonna.
I will be. I'm ready. I actually turned 55 this week, and so I'm ready to roll. The problem is, and my daughters always love when I say that, the problem is my 16-year-old twin daughters still live with me. And so while that's a great thing because I love me some baby girls, I can't move into these neighborhoods until they turn 19, which is an interesting fact. These neighborhoods, most of them, you can actually move in when you're 50 years old. The vast majority come in at 55 just because that's kind of how they're marketed. And you can have a kid live with you as long as they're 19, not 18 like you would expect. But at 19 years old, they can live there. I've always been interested in these kinds of neighborhoods. Even when I was living in Pittsburgh, by the way, I'm from Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania. Mark is from up in Massachusetts. Jerry, are you a local? I don't even know that answer.
No, I am born and raised in Greensboro, North Carolina. Been here in Charleston since 2004.
Okay, so Mark and I have much more experience in shoveling snow.
Yes.
That is actually what got me to move here. My twins were about 2 months old, and we had a pretty good snowstorm in Pittsburgh, had about 2+ feet, and it drifted, and I had to go outside and shovel a hole in the yard for my big, stupid black lab boo-boo to go out inside and pee. And I thought, this is dumb. I'm moving south. And my brother and parents were already here in the Charleston area. So I very quickly got focused in on this. And I always thought I was going to be likely, when I did retire, going to the villages in Florida. I like to go hang out with people. I like all the activities and the stuff to do. But we've really started to learn that a lot of people are exiting Florida for multitudes of reasons and settling back into the South Carolina market here. And the 55s have really blown up because of it. They call them halfbacks. All the
Yes.
people from New York and Connecticut and Jersey and Michigan, where a lot of our clients are from, they went to Florida. They're like, oh, those home insurance bills have got a little out of hand. I've had 7 hurricanes since I moved here, and they've come halfway back into the Carolinas. So we're pretty well positioned here between Myrtle Beach and Greenville, down at the big dog of Sun City. I guess we'll probably talk about that a little bit. But I come from the north, so we do know of what we speak if you're from the north.
We know what you're talking about is what you're trying to say, right?
Absolutely.
So, Jeff, tell them a little bit about some of your favorite 55 plus communities, because we have 7 here. There are some that are not better than others, but fit different lifestyles than others, right? We have all the way down to where there's very minimal activity centers and pools, and some of them don't even have a pool. But then there's others that have the resort style communities, like we were talking about.
100%. So it is really driven by lifestyle. So I think that if you are I want to be feet in the sand every day, then North Myrtle Beach, Del Webb, for instance, is a great example of a great neighborhood. They're still doing new construction up there, so you could buy a lot, buy a house, put all the stuff in it that you want, build it from the ground up, and your 15-minute ride to the beach by golf cart. So that is golf cartable to restaurants, things to do, and to the beach. So that's a great option. Beautiful amenity center. When we're done here, pay attention. Go watch our YouTube channel. We've got 2 of them, like Mark mentioned, the Livin Carolina channel and Charleston Area Living. And we've got tours of all of these neighborhoods that we're going to be talking about on these channels. If you want to be in the upstate, closer to mountains, closer to some other this is the low country. It is flat here in Charleston where we live, but up near the mountains, Greenville, there's a new Del Webb up there. Got a river kind of running right around the outside of the property. There's hills, there's mountains, there's lots of stuff to do. Greenville is a very up and coming area, very sought after. If you are a golfer, you just won't do any better than Sun City Del Webb. It is it's the big dog. So it's the biggest in the country, the most amenitized 55 plus in the country. Mark, doesn't it have 3 golf courses?
Yeah, 3 golf courses. Well, I think 2 of them are executive, and then one of them is more of the championship.
Lots like a 4,000 square foot woodworking club. Just tons to do. A much bigger neighborhood than what we have in the Charleston market. So let's talk about sizes of these, because that comes into play. Yeah. Like a Del Webb in Greenville is probably going to be 700-ish homes. Sun City is going to be like 14,000 homes. Now that's a drop in the bucket compared to, obviously the villages. Del Webb up in North Myrtle, Mark, 800 homes maybe.
I don't even think that. I think more like 600.
And then around Charleston here, where Mark and I and Jerry actually live, and where we do most of our work, but we do represent the entire state. The draw here is the whole package. Is what most of our people have found, and what we have found. We have tons of people from all the northern states. They come down. They often, through our YouTube channel, already know they want to be in Charleston, or if they come down to do the tour and they look at Sun City and they look at Myrtle, they very often end up here in Charleston, because Charleston's been the #1 travel destination in the country like 5 of the last 7 years with Condé Nast magazine. We're far enough inland that we're not as scared of hurricanes here. You have an X-flood zone at almost all of the homes that we sell here in Somerville. That's the one you want. So you do not have to have flood insurance on your house if you have a mortgage. But you've got access within 35, 45 minutes to get to the beach. But all the cool things that make Charleston historical, and the plantations and all the Jerry, I know you know this is a food town. I think I finally figured out why Charleston is such a foodie town. Have I ever told you why?
No,
So,
please.
depending on who you ask, the best two culinary schools in the country are Johnson and Wales, which is up in Providence, Rhode Island, and Culinary Institute of America in Hyde Park, New York. J&W used to have a satellite school here.
Yes.
And so all the chefs that trained here, I think, loved the town so much that they stayed. And so this is an absolute foodie town. And what's really cool is that all of the cool restaurants that are downtown Charleston, Pages and Poogan's and Hall's Chop House, and they've all opened restaurants out here in Somerville because that's where all the growth has been going. And actually, right where Mark and I's office is in Nexton, you'll see that on the YouTube channel. But there's everything here in Somerville that go from the whole amenity center, what's going to have a bar and a grill attached to it. The pickleball, the tennis courts, the bocce, the events, the groups, the clubs, all of that, down to neighborhoods that just have an outdoor pool, pickleball, and a dog park with no inside amenities. Most of all of them, actually all the 55 pluses, they cut the grass. Some of them are gated. Some of them are not gated. But we've got the full gamut here right in Somerville, and especially Charleston. There's one new Del Webb down at Point Hope, a lot closer to the ocean, which is brand new, and it's going to be a great facility also.
So, Jeff, with all of those things that you mentioned, a lot of people are probably thinking, hey, the HOA fees and the CDD fees and all of that have got to be, tens of thousands of dollars a year with all of those, services and whatnot. And we found that that's just not the case here, right?
Yeah, we've had a lot of people come from we've a lot of clients recently from Connecticut, New Jersey, Rhode Island, all the northeastern states, and we recently had one lady that she was asking me how much this house in Cane Bay was going to be for taxes that she was going to buy, and I told her it was going to be $1,800, and she said a month, and I said no, a year. It's like she didn't believe me because she had $20,000+ a year in taxes where she lived. She made me show her online where it actually was. The taxes are going to be in Charleston, and I'll use Charleston market specifically, but they're close up in Myrtle and down at Sun City and up in Greenville also. Taxes are going to be anywhere from $1,800 to, I think the biggest we've seen is about $3,500.
All right, don't get ahead of ourselves now, Jeff. We don't want to go into taxes yet. We got a whole slide for that. So just talk about HOA fees.
Monthly fees.
Yes.
They range anywhere from $275 to $450 is the whole range of what we see across the whole state. That includes your grass cutting. Some of them are gated, and that's all of the amenities, all of the clubs, all of the groups. Most of them have a full-time activities director that is included in that. Some of them have multiple pools available for this one you can bring the grandkids to, this one you can do it at this time of day. But in general, about $275 to $450 per month. One of them even has a farm where, as part of your monthly dues, you get on your phone a credit to go buy produce that was grown in the neighborhood. So it's not as expensive. I mean, we have townhouses here in Charleston and condos that just the townhouse is $300-$400 a month because they're older condos down close to the ocean, and you don't have any of the stuff that come with these.
Yeah. All right, that's awesome. So there's a couple different ways to buy homes, right? So I'm going to share a quick screen just to kind of show you our purchasing options. Obviously, there are pre-owned homes in most of these active adult communities. There may be one that's just starting out that might not have a pre-owned home. Then you can also build from the ground up, and we have spec or inventory homes. So Jeff, why don't you talk a little bit about the spec and inventory homes, and then I'll go into the build from the ground up, and then we can talk about pre-owned.
Yep. So let's take a typical Del Webb neighborhood, Four Seasons neighborhood, whatever it is. They often have a certain number of homes that they are starting that are going to be done in anywhere from 1 to 5 months. They've already been permitted. They've already picked all the stuff that's going to go into these. And so you have two choices. You can buy it or you cannot buy it. The deal is, though, that these are some of the best purchases financially, because a lot of these, as they get closer to completion, if they're not under contract, they start to drop the price. So here in Charleston, we've had them up to $110,000 off of their original price because it was a house that was completely done. We were able to close on it in 30 days, and they just didn't have it under contract yet. Now, you might be concerned that are they basic homes because they're spec homes, and they're not. These builders learned a lesson a long time ago. In the 55 plus space, people don't want just basic houses. They want all this stuff in them. They want the lights, they want the ceilings, they want the LVP, they want the porches with the screens, and they want all this stuff. And so we have found that these builders are building these exactly like you would do it if you were to go in and pick everything from the ground up. So they're very nice houses. And there's great examples of that on the two YouTube channels that I mentioned.
Yeah. And then the other option, you can build from the ground up. It takes about 6 to 8 months for the build process, depending upon the builder, how many homes they have actively going. Is it a season of lots of weather going on? So that's why they give us that range in 6 to 8 months. Really, you start at picking the neighborhood that you really like. Well, most people will come in town. They'll visit a few different neighborhoods. We found the neighborhood we like. We found the model home we like, and then we pick out a lot, and we put the base price of the home plus the lot price plus all of your selections that you want to add, including structural options. You might want a second floor. You might not want a second floor. You might want the extended patio, which is an additional charge over the regular patio. So lots of different options. And then like Del Webb, for instance, you can pick pretty much everything, where a Four Seasons in Cane Bay, they have different packages. So depending upon the neighborhood, really depends upon how detailed you can get into picking your everything. And then, that total price is those three things, basically: the lot, the base price of the home, plus any of your structural or design upgrades. And then, of course, we have pre-owned homes, which some of these have lots of great stuff, right, Jeff?
Yeah, so this area is just so new and up and coming that there's a lot of the original Del Webb here in Charleston is about 18 years old now. But a lot of these homes that are in Four Seasons and Crestwind and all these other Horizons and all the other ones that are around town in Charleston, they are they're full of resales that are 1, 2, 3 years old, where we actually did a walkthrough on a channel on the Charleston Area Living channel that's going to be out next week. And it was about a 2,000 square foot house in Del Webb, Nexton. They got transferred because of their job. And so they had to sell the house. They had put probably, I would estimate, $40,000 worth of stuff into this house. And it's a benefit for you, not so great for them, because even with the pricing, they've got to be competitive with the new construction that is still building in that neighborhood. So this one house, I think it was $630-ish thousand. It was gorgeous. It had this automatic screen that came down, this big awning that came out with the push of a button. Really cool houses. So they do a lot of nice stuff to these, and a lot of them are not that old. So now, if you are looking at some of the older neighborhoods, we, as your realtors, we pay attention to certain things. We care about ages of roof, ages of HVAC. This is South Carolina. It gets hot here. So we pay attention to those kind of things. But there's some great values in some of these neighborhoods right now, especially. And when I say right now, I don't mean you have to call today. I foresee it to be for the next couple years, because as long as there's new construction in these neighborhoods, the resales are going to have to be competitive in pricing with the new construction. So Del Webb Nexton, for instance, one of the premier facilities, they've still got years of build out to come. They've got probably another 600-700 homes to build. So I don't want you to be thinking, oh, if I don't act on it this year, I'm going to lose out. I don't believe that's the case.
Yeah. All right.
I got a quick question.
Yeah.
Not with my lender hat, but more of a consumer, a potential home buyer. I'm putting myself in my parents' position up in North Carolina that's contemplating moving down here close to the grandkids.
Yep.
What's the first thing they need to do? Do they call you? Do they go online? Do they decide whether they want to move to Somerville or Myrtle Beach? I mean,
so most of our clients, they actually come to us through our YouTube channels because we just have such a big YouTube presence, and we've toured like every model, every neighborhood. So they get a good feeling for what the different areas, be it Myrtle Beach, Charleston, Greenville, whatever, has to offer through the YouTube channel. Mark will discuss it at the end of the webinar here, I'm sure. But the next step is typically people book a Zoom call with us. And so we just sit for 45 minutes and talk about what's important to you, what are you looking for? And then typically the third step is they come to town and meet us together in our office, and we go out and play tours for the day, and we walk through some doors. All of it is built around, I want to know if this area is the right fit for you. It's not a big sales push. We sold loads of homes last year. If I don't sell you a house, I'm going to be just fine. I want a comfort level for you that says, yes, this area is what I'm looking for. I'm confident when it's time for me to move from Long Island. And the only reason I say that is because I feel like we've had 3 from Long Island this week, that they're going to land in a great place here in the Carolinas.
I really appreciate it. And the reason why I said that, Jeff, is, the internet is a wonderful thing, but it can overwhelm you. And so you have my parents in their 70s go online and they start reaching out to some of these builders, and they just get overwhelmed and they almost want to shut down. So I think the opportunity that you're providing here as a service to educate them on what's out there and how to navigate that move is very important.
It's almost, Mark and I in our team, we kind of see ourselves as navigators, not even realtors. What's important to know, Mark, and you shut me off if I go in some place that you're going to cover later.
All right.
Because I have a tend to go a little bit. If you go into or contact a builder and you don't have a realtor to represent you, then that builder's realtor is representing you. And that's called dual agency. We are your realtor. When we go in, we represent you. We don't work for the builder. Now, that sounds, to some people, says, oh, that sounds very expensive. It's often nothing, because the builder pays us what we charge in almost all of these neighborhoods. So contractually, we work for you. We owe you fiduciary responsibility. We have to act in your best interest and so on. But at the end of the day, it's no money out of your pocket because the builder is compensating us what we charge. So then the next question would be, okay, can I get a better deal on a house if I don't go in with a realtor? The answer to that is no. The builders don't charge any less for their home with or without a realtor. So in essence, you're paying that fee to the realtor built into the price of the home. So if you don't go in with your own realtor, you're basically paying for a service that you never get. And the flip with us is, since we sell so many in this market, we have the ability to get better deals for people sometimes. And one of the builders, specifically Pulte, we sell so many that they discount the houses for our clients where they don't do it for other realtors. So if you go in on your own to look at a Del Webb with Pulte, you will pay more than if you walk through the door with me, which people just don't, that nobody ever knows that. I don't ever want to come out and be like, you'll never get a better deal with anybody else than me. Like, I don't want to be that guy, but with that one builder specifically, it's absolutely the case.
Thank you.
So, Jeff, we have all the time, we have people that ask the same questions pretty much on every Zoom call. Like you mentioned at the beginning, moving from the Northeast or the Midwest or anywhere really, just because they've never been here, those top 3 questions are always alligators, hurricanes, and flood zones, right? So these are the ones that we're going to go over right now. Obviously, you can post in the comments any other questions you have throughout this webinar. But Jerry, I'm going to ask you first. You've been here forever, between in South Carolina, at least. Alligators, are they something that you have to worry about, and you would not move here because of alligators?
No, not at all. And I really only run into alligators on golf courses.
Yeah.
My ball has a tendency to go that way towards the water.
I've met
great.
a few at Coosaw Creek a couple times where some pretty big boys that decide they want to come visit my golf ball. If I would just stay in the middle of the fairway, this wouldn't be an issue.
Yeah.
So you and I must be a little kindred spirit here.
What about hurricanes, Jeff? We do experience some hurricanes. There was a big one, I think it was back in 1989, Hurricane Hugo. I moved here in 99, haven't seen the Hugos since I've been here. But talk about your experience with hurricanes being 16 years in.
Yeah, I'm 16 years in. Hugo was back the year I graduated high school. I remember seeing it on the news. This is South Carolina. We're a coastal state. Could the monster hit again? Absolutely, it could. We have seen, at least in my 16 years, by the time, if it is coming in from the coast, by the time it gets to Somerville here, since we're inland, it's calmed down enough. I have never had damage. I've had a power outage one time for about 6 hours in the 16 years that I've been here. And it's important to talk about how these neighborhoods are built, specifically the Del Webbs, the Four Seasons, the Crestwinds of the world. They do not want to sell homes that are in flood zones because they know it's going to be much more difficult to sell those homes. So if it's anywhere close, they spend a lot of money building up the neighborhoods. When you go look at our YouTube channel or you come in town in person and look at the houses are raised. There's these kind of gutter looking things running in between. The water flows very well out to the back of the property, out to retention ponds. They're extremely well designed to handle the heavy amounts of rain. Mark, Jerry, we had 25 inches of rain last year in a couple-day period. It was a lot of rain. These neighborhoods did exactly what they were supposed to do. Mark and I both live in Somerville in neighborhoods like this, not 55 pluses, but neighborhoods that are designed the same way. Mark and I do not have flood insurance on our houses. I just have never seen anything that concerned me enough that would say that it should be an issue. The monster could hit. If it did, I'm just leaving town. When I first moved here, I wanted to get a generator because I'm like, oh, I'm going to get stuck in a hurricane. I got the kids. I don't want to lose power for 5 days. My neighbor said, hey, do what you want, but you better get on the neighborhood Facebook page and just say, has anybody ever had a problem? And after I did a little research, I decided that a generator just wasn't a necessity for me because after all, by the time you do the service plans and everything, it was like 20 grand in the long term.
There's something else I want to mention real quick when it comes to the construction of these homes. There's a high level of coding and building inspections and code enforcement when it comes to how they build a house to prevent any real damage from a typical storm.
100%. And actually, Mark and I just highlighted that in one of our videos recently on the channel, where the roof system was designed. There was these screws in the roof that were it's designed to lift. So if there was an updraft, it doesn't rip the roof off. So as you get closer to the coast, there are different design specifications needed from local government that they have to build to those certain standards with the hurricane tie downs and all that stuff. But I'm 16 years in and it's never even been close for me. And Mark, you've got 10 years on top of me here and not for you either.
Yeah, no, it hasn't been an issue at all. There was one hurricane that I had left for right when I moved here. Me and my mom drove to Tennessee. I think it was 1999-ish, somewhere around there, just because it looked like it was coming in like a Hugo. And then like a lot of the hurricanes do here, we kind of veered off. And, flooding and hurricanes really have not been that big of a deal, since then. That can kind of segue into my next question. Hurricanes in Florida. I was looking at some stats from 1878 to 2017, and they were actually showing, the probability of a major hurricane hitting different states. And when you compare South Carolina at 4% probability to Florida's 21% probability, that is one of the reasons that we're seeing even people, like you mentioned earlier, called halfbacks, going to Florida and then coming back to South Carolina just because they don't want to deal with the hurricanes. But also the other kind of three questions that we hear all the time, and that's around, cost of living, property taxes, and homeowners insurance.
Yeah.
So, Jeff, talk a little bit about homeowners insurance. Florida kind of hurt us a little bit on the homeowners insurance, so ours has gone up a little bit, but not horribly like Florida, right?
Yeah, it has. So when I moved here 16 years ago, I was paying $1,200 a year for my homeowners insurance, and I was on a 3,700 square foot house actually. It has gone up over the years. Florida kind of hurt us a little bit because these insurance companies, they share risk amongst multiple states, and so if there's hits in Florida, the expense gets spread out throughout the community. And so they had a lot of roof damage on there. On my personal house, I can only speak about my house. I am insured very well in my house. My insurance was $2,100 this year. And so that gives you, and I have a 3,000 square foot house, 2-level. I'm in one of these types of neighborhoods. New construction insures well. It's also important to get multiple quotes. We do that for you when you move here. We don't just get you a quote through State Farm or Allstate. Those are all great companies, but they have to pay to put their names on sporting venues. And so, honestly, I don't care if it's Billy Bob's Insurance, as long as it's an A-rated carrier that I know can pay the bills if it is a problem. So we have brokers that get multiple quotes for you when you move here. And it's not just that. It's that we as a team have built our business around being the solution for every aspect of it. So when it comes to home inspectors, insurance quotes, mortgages like Jerry, we're kind of a one-stop shop for our clients that are moving in from out of the area.
Jerry, I want to go to you on the next one, cost of living, and then Jeff, I'll allow you to finish your property taxes that you started earlier.
Yeah.
Just in general, cost of living here compared to other places that you've seen or heard of, how do you feel we kind of relate to some of the other areas?
Good question. Yeah. As an employee of Mutual of Omaha, we're licensed in all 50 states. And so I assist home buyers all across the country. There's a heavy flow of home buyers coming down from the Northeast for multiple reasons. Jeff mentioned a couple of them. Number one, we run into is the weather. So we're talking about a 4% chance of a hurricane. Well, there's 100% chance there's going to be a snowstorm in Vermont this year.
Right.
Go figure. Affordability is third. The second one is they're moving down for family, getting closer to grandkids and things of that nature. And Jeff touched on it. It's, whenever Jeff and Mark and the team introduced me to a potential buyer, and I talked to them about their different mortgage options, and we get into a great detail about their finances. It's very personal. And something that comes up is affordability. What's the payment going to be? What's the home insurance going to be? And when I start quoting estimates for property taxes, home insurance, they don't believe me. As Jeff said, they're like, you're telling me $1,800 a year? I'm paying $18,000.
Yeah.
So we spend a lot of time talking about the cost of living where they are today, the pros and cons, and then the advantages of moving here to the low country in South Carolina. And I would say 99% of the time, at the end of the day, once they've made that move, they have more disposable income because their property charges as a whole are less here in South Carolina.
Yeah. And then, just the regular expenses, that your monthly electricity, gas, those things. I'm seeing even those things from my family up in Massachusetts and New England, Rhode Island, Connecticut. They're paying a whole lot more in electrical charges than we are down here. I mean, I run a pool, 16, 18 hours a day, a pump that goes all the time. And in the summertime, all the air conditioning that we use down here, and I'm still $225 a month. Jeff, you're even lower than that on your electric bill, and our gas bills are somewhere around $50 a month, and that includes heat, right?
Yeah, every Tuesday night, if you guys are ever bored on a Tuesday night, we do a Tuesday night live on YouTube. Also, go check that out on Charleston Area Living. So we had some people asking about the electric bill. So I actually went and looked at my last 12 months and averaged it out. I was at $149 over the course. It was an average per month. And I like to keep my house cold. I'm from the north in the summer. The air conditioning is well used in my house. And I averaged on a 3,000 square foot house with teenagers, mind you, at $150 a month for the last year.
So the other thing about taxes, I'm going to let you go back into property taxes in a minute. But with the cars, we do get hit a little bit on car taxes, right? So talk a little bit about that, and then go into back into property taxes.
Yeah, so obviously everything needs to get paid for here. So your vehicles are taxed where they are not taxed in some states. So in Pennsylvania, this was 15 years ago, back in the day, we had a yearly registration. It was like $36, but now I think it's quite a bit more than that. But I was surprised to find out that a lot of the other states from the Northeast also have vehicle taxes on there. I thought we weren't really comparing apples to apples, but it turns out we are. My car that I bought at $50,000 a year ago, I've got 37,000 miles on it now. About a year and a half ago, I bought it. It was $54,000. My tax on it this year, I think, was $458. We typically see vehicle taxes be anywhere from $250 to $500, I think, is the range. Boats are taxed. Boat motors are taxed. So it doesn't pay you to have a really nice car here, but it's not as bad as even some states up north in the vehicle tax. The property taxes, obviously, for the homes are much, much, much lower. $1,500 to, I don't believe, Mark, that we've ever seen a client that hit $4,000 a year.
No.
We sold 115 houses last year. So the sweet spot for most of our people are $2,000 to $3,200 a year in taxes. Now, the one place that isn't great about South Carolina, and this is where Jerry, Mark, me, my whole team, we always promise the good, always promise the bad. Full transparency on everything. If it's right for you, it's right for you. If not, we made friends. We had a good time with you when you went and looked at houses. This is not a great state for an investment property or to have a second home. So the property taxes on my house that's $2,300 a year, whatever it was this year, they would be close to $7,000 a year if this was a secondary property. So we do not see a lot of people buying properties here to snowbird here because the taxes are basically triple what they are if you live here as a primary residence. There's also a homestead deduction when you turn 65 and you've been here for a full year. It's $50,000 off the taxes, right, Jerry?
Yes.
Yeah. So if you have a $500,000 house, it's taxed down at a $450,000 rate. And actually, I guess we haven't even said, Mark, are we going to talk about the ballpark pricing of most of these neighborhoods here, or should I cover it right now?
Yeah, go ahead and cover it.
So the vast majority of the homes that we sell, most of them, I would say, are in the $400,000 to $650,000 range. We've got them from $300,000 to $1 million plus. But your typical 2,000 square foot, 2 or 3 bedroom, 2 bath home in one of these neighborhoods is typically right around that $500,000 mark. There's some that are less, there's some that are more, but I just want to give you that ballpark idea of what we're talking about here because this isn't a $1 million market. We've just got a lot of homes here, some really great homes I would move into tomorrow even at under $500,000. So
with those prices, I think this is a great segue. I'm going to skip around in the deck a little bit. I want to head over to Jerry to talk more about different financing options. So, Jerry, there's the traditional, and then there's a kind of a new way of financing as well, right? So can you talk about that for us a little bit?
Sure, of course. Thank you. We'll call it the lifestyle loan. And what or why it was created. Most all of the viewers here understand there's two typical ways to buy a house. Pay in cash. I'll use that $500,000 as kind of a ballpark figure that Jeff touched on. So if you're looking to come from Connecticut to Somerville, Charleston area, $500,000 house. If you have the ability from the proceeds from the sale of your departing house, and maybe you take some money out of your savings and you just pay all cash for the house because you don't want to deal with a mortgage guy like me, and you don't want a monthly payment. That's usually the driving factor is, I'm either planning retirement, I'm retired, I'm on fixed income, and this 30-year payment they're talking to me is just turning me off. So therefore you're paying cash. Well, if you don't have the ability to pay all cash, then you look at the second most common way to buy a house, and that's a 30-year conventional loan. And when I say conventional loan, I'm dumping all of them in there, VA loan, et cetera. Some of the concerns with the 30-year loan is that monthly payment, especially if you're a married couple moving to South Carolina and you're getting approved for a 30-year mortgage using 2 Social Security checks. My why is that, I approved a lot of people over my 30 years in the conventional lending world using 2 Social Security checks. And then unfortunately, one spouse may predecease the other and they lose that Social Security check. They'll lose one of the checks. Therefore, their monthly household income is less, but that mortgage payment becomes a real burden. So because of that, in 2009, there was a program called a home equity conversion mortgage. Now we're going to call it a lifestyle loan, but if you got Googlers out there, if you want to Google it, it's called a home equity conversion mortgage. And Mutual of Omaha, we're the #1 lender in the country. And what it allows you to do, if you're age 62 or over, now put a little bookmark there on that age. If you're age 62 or over and you're buying a primary residence, with Mutual of Omaha and the lifestyle loan, we're now offering you a third option. So we can talk to you about the benefits, the pros and cons of paying all cash for your next ideal house for retirement. We can compare it to a 30-year conventional loan, the pros and the cons. And we're going to introduce you to the third option, and that's the lifestyle loan. And with the lifestyle loan today, you're going to make a down payment, a one-time down payment of around 60% of the purchase price. So if you're looking at a $500,000 home, then you're going to bring approximately $300,000 cash to the closing. You're going to borrow $200,000 from Mutual of Omaha. You're going to own the new house. I jokingly tell people, if the HOA will let you, you can paint that house pink with purple polka dots. It's your house. You own it. You maintain control of it. But the unique feature with this lifestyle loan, it does not require monthly payments. So you're going to get a statement every single month, and you can choose to make payments. You can make payments of any amount at any time, but there are no monthly payments required. There's no term on this loan. So if you're moving from Connecticut, you've got $300,000. You're thinking that you're going to be a cash buyer with $300,000. If you follow up with Jeff and Mark, they're going to show you what $300,000 will get you. And then they're going to say, hey, why don't we leverage Mutual of Omaha? We can show you this $500,000 house. You put your $300,000 down, you buy this $500,000 house in this brand new community with the pools and everything you've always wanted, the kitchen you may have never had, and you're not going to be burdened with a monthly payment. That's how the lifestyle loan works. It's the fastest growing product that we have. Now, with that being said, that home equity conversion mortgage that we're calling lifestyle loan has been available since 2009. So it's not a new program. It's backed by the Federal Housing Authority. There's a lot of bells and safety whistles to protect you, to make sure you understand if this is a good fit for you or not. But because of the drive, there's roughly 15,000 baby boomers a day looking to retire. Because of that huge demand across the country, Mutual of Omaha has created a program called Secure Equity. We lump that in with the lifestyle loan. The Secure Equity allows buyers a minimum age of 55. So if you're 55 years of age, and if you're a married couple, only one of you needs to be age 55. So if you're age 55 or older, and you're sitting in a home that's maybe old, you're worried about repairs, your utility bills are high, you don't like the weather, your kids are down south, whatever the reason you're entertaining a move, let's get on the phone. Let's call Jeff. Let's call Mark. Let's tell them a little bit about your story, and we can talk to you about, okay, here's the price of the neighborhood you're looking at. Is your budget all cash? I can pre-approve you for a 30-year conventional, and then we can go into great detail to determine if the lifestyle loan, which again allows you to make a one-time down payment of around 60% of the purchase price, you own the house, and the unique bell and weather of this is that it does not require monthly mortgage payments.
Now, Jeff, I know you did this for your parents, and it was a great product for them. Tell them some of the questions that you had.
Yeah, 100%.
Because, I'm sure there's some out there that just haven't fully wrapped their head around this new loan product.
Yeah.
Because they've never heard of it before, right?
First of all, this is where I toot our own horns a little bit. Most realtors don't even know this exists. And so just our knowledge of this program, because we've done it multiple times, and I did it with my parents. My parents were cash buyers. They purchased their home a while back, and they were going to buy a $400,000 house. And so instead of buying a $400,000 house for $400,000 in cash, since we knew that their investments make them an average of about 9% over the years, they bought the house for $300,000 in cash. We took the extra $100,000 and we didn't take it out of, we just kept it in the investments because we knew that was going to continue to grow. And so then my next question was, okay, is this loan much more expensive? What are the downsides of this loan? Well, when I asked Jerry that question, the answer is the percentage rate is just a little bit higher than the conventional rate. And there's a few more closing costs because it's an FHA loan compared to a conventional loan. But why that's so important is from the FHA perspective is, let's say the absolute worst case scenario happens. You overpaid for your house. You bought at the peak. You bought back in COVID and people were overpaying on houses. And then you live in this house. Thank God you live to be 110 years old. And so you owe this huge amount of money. And right before the day you and your wife get hit by a bus, the market crashes. And so now the home is worth less than it's actually worth. This doesn't hurt your heirs. This is an FHA-backed product, so it's not like you owe a bunch of money here that your heirs can't get hurt. What we do expect to happen is that this home is going to increase an average of 3, 4, 5%, whatever the market does over the years, and that this home is worth way more than what you owe on it when you and your wife get hit by the bus. And so the home gets sold, Mutual of Omaha gets paid off like a regular mortgage, and all the extra money, all the equity in the house goes to your heirs. So that was a concern of mine because I was the heir. I didn't want to get screwed here. So it's not perfect for everybody, but it has been so perfect for some people when they say, I've got 400, but I want to be in that 600. And
Yes.
so to not have any payments, you're still responsible for your taxes and your HOAs and your insurance, but to have the ability to never have a mortgage payment. And it's built for the protection of both. If one spouse dies, nothing changes. This house is yours.
Let me button this up on my side for a minute.
Yeah.
So I close 10 to 15 of these a month. I've closed almost 4,000 of them since 2009. So you can do the math. Is it right for everybody? Of course not. There's no financial product that's right for everyone. We generally see, I'm lumping everybody in, who's taking advantage of the lifestyle loan or in what's called the mass affluent. The mass affluent have between 500,000 and 1.5 million in total assets, including their home. And 9 out of 10 of the clients that are coming to us at Mutual of Omaha about the lifestyle loan, they can pay cash for that $500,000 house. They have the ability to pay cash. But when we show them the numbers and say, listen, take 300, let that be your down payment to buy the $500,000 house. Take the other 200, put it into a nice investment, because this is the easiest way I can show you. If you owe us $200,000 on a lifestyle loan, and let's just say the rate is 6%, you don't make any payments. A year later, you're going to owe Mutual of Omaha $212. Okay. Now that $500,000 house, the average appreciation since the 70s is right at 4%. So that $500,000 house, if it appreciated at 4%, becomes 520. So that's a $20,000 equity gain, a $12,000 loan balance. So in this example, you would have an $8,000 equity growth, and you didn't make payment. So you're able to keep your money. There's where the cash flow comes from. So it can actually help you preserve your investments so you can deal with longevity. That's why Mutual of Omaha got into this space.
Jerry, I've got a question. No, I've got two questions, and then we got a question from the audience. So my first question is, this guy next to me is really trying to sell a house here. So is there anything that he said that is not true? I just want to make sure we're very transparent.
The guy next to you, the guy named Jeff?
Yes.
No, did I screw anything up, Jerry?
No, he did not at all.
Okay, good. Second question is, I know this works on single-family detached homes. Does it work on condos and townhomes and mobile homes and all of that?
It works on single-family residences, townhomes, condos if they're approved by FHA. You can even buy double-wide mobile homes if they're permanently attached. We're focusing on the beautiful 55-plus neighborhoods, but they do not. You guys sell houses outside of 50-plus neighborhoods. We can do this loan pretty much anywhere. The only thing that I would caution buyers are, it's not for fixer-uppers. It's not where you're like, look, every house in the neighborhood is $500,000, but I can get this one for $315. Well, because it needs a new roof and it needs new plumbing, and those houses aren't going to fly, because we're trying to make sure that these new homes that you're buying to age in are safe to age in place. So yes, single family residences, townhomes, condos, we're good to go.
All right. So the question from the audience is the lifestyle loan available in North Carolina? And then I'm going to add on to that, can you help them in North Carolina?
Yes. The lifestyle home loan is available. Actually, I told a misstep earlier. We're approved in 49 states. The only state that we're not licensed in is New York.
Okay.
So if you're moving to New York, no. But if you're moving to North Carolina, yes.
Nobody's moving to New York. This is not a problem.
Exactly. Yeah. So North Carolina is a definite two thumbs up.
Okay. And you're licensed in North Carolina also, Jerry?
Yeah. I personally am in North Carolina, South Carolina, Tennessee, Georgia, and Florida. But if you were to go anywhere else, I have team members that are licensed in all states. So yes, I am licensed in North Carolina. Yes.
And Kevin, as realtors, we have options in North Carolina also that are well versed in all of this. So yet again, the whole package is available in North Carolina.
Yeah.
Good question.
Very good. Very good. All right. So now that we got the financing down, Jeff, I'm going to go to you on this next part. What is the selling and buying process? There's many different ways that we have to kind of walk through this, right? You might sell then buy, or buy then sell, or maybe you're buying years before you move as an investment. Kind of walk through some of those options.
Yeah. So most of the builders, and let's talk about builders and resales in the state. Most sellers of homes don't have a huge appetite to give a home contingency for a house in Connecticut, New England, Michigan, whatever. If you have your house under contract already in New York, then they have more of an appetite to do a home to sell contingency. So if you're already under contract, it becomes much more easy. What we have a lot of people do, if they are doing a traditional mortgage, so not a home equity conversion mortgage, but a traditional mortgage, is we do what's called a recast. So we know you're going to put down 5%. I'm going to make up some numbers here, but you're going to put down, $25,000 on that $500,000 house here, if you can afford to technically own two homes for a minute. And then when you sell your home in New York or wherever, you take all of that equity and you bring it down and you do what's called a recast on the mortgage. With different mortgage companies, we work with a bunch. That can cost you $0 to $1,000 about to recast that mortgage. What it does is it doesn't put that $200,000 in equity that you brought with you onto the back end of the mortgage. It puts it on the front end of the mortgage. So your payment goes from this down to this. And so it's like you had that $200,000 down available in cash on day one when you purchase the house. So we have a ton of people. I moved Somerville to Somerville. I even did that on my house. I didn't want the hassle of having to close on my house on a Tuesday at 10 and then close on my other house on Tuesday at 2 in the afternoon. So we do that all the time. It's very simple. HELOC is another thing that some people do. They have large amounts of equity in their home up north. They want to use that money as a down payment. They do a HELOC on their house in New York. They pull out $150,000 to play with. They go under contract here. You sell the home up there. You pay off the HELOC. You can recast the loan still. It's very easy to do. And the other thing is, it's very easy for our mortgage people to figure out if you can get this done. It's a pretty quick conversation of here's what I have in investments, here's what I have in cash, here's what I would expect to get when I sell my house. And so that's pretty easily done, and we can come up with that answer pretty quickly. Mark, what else was on that slide that I was supposed to go over?
Gotta go back to it. Hold on. Talk about, let's say they sold and they need temporary housing while they build down here.
Yeah.
What are some of the options there? And then, buying before you move.
Yeah. Mark has a lovely home with a pool in the backyard. All of our clients get free access to Mark's spare bedroom. So just come on down. The bigger the dog, the better. So there's options. Obviously, there's short-term rentals here that start at about 3 months. Those are typically unfurnished. There's something called Furnished Finder. You can go check this out on your own someday when you're bored. Think of an Airbnb type setup, but for monthly rentals. It was actually built around the Traveling Nurse Society. So nurses would be, they'd go to Boston for 3 months to work, and they would need a place to rent. They didn't want to stay in a hotel. They wanted to be in a condo, a townhouse, a single family home. So a lot of our people have used Furnished Finder. If you want to unpack your own stuff, there's 3-month rentals, because a lot of people, they say, listen, I don't want the hassle. I want to be done in Connecticut, New Jersey, Massachusetts, and I want to come down here and I want to be a part of the building process. I actually want to be there for the home inspections and for the builder meetings and be able to walk around my house as it's being built. So a lot of people will sell off up there, come down, go under contract, and get a rental that's 3 to 6 months. But remember, Plan B, Mark's house, always available.
All right. Well, I think we've hit on everything that we had on the debt. We just want to throw it out there. Are there any other questions that you have? Throw those in the comments. We'll throw them up on screen. The big takeaway is our team, of course, is here for you. As Jeff said, as navigators, we have partners like Jerry and Landon to help us with financing, and we all kind of work together really, really well to ensure that we walk you through the whole process, whether you're building, whether you're buying pre-owned, or any of that. We're here for you. We do have a question here. What was the name development again of the builder near North Myrtle?
So the one I was talking about was Webb. It's in North Myrtle. There are resales in that neighborhood. There is still a few lots left. They are still doing some new construction. They do have some spec homes. That was the one that is golf cartable to the beach. Really nice location. I encourage you to go to our YouTube channel, Livin Carolina. If you go to livincarolina.com, all of the websites or the YouTube channels are available there to see. We've got great walkthroughs of the amenities up there. It's a really beautiful property. If I wanted to be in Myrtle in the 55 plus space, it's the first place I would go look. There's plenty of other ones that are already there just without new construction right now. There's even a condo building there called Margaritaville that's being built. So we're well versed in the whole Myrtle market, but the Webb North Myrtle is the one you're talking about.
Yeah. So you see my name up here because there was a problem with the link. Some of the emails were going to spam. So I registered and then sent that link to everybody to make sure. So that's why you might see my name here being posted. But this is a question from a real person. Will this be posted later for review? If you registered prior to joining this, you will get a link to watch this again after we're done. I think it's a couple hours after. You'll get a link to rewatch this. Just remember that might have gone to spam. And so that's what happened with a few of the people. And that's why we sent the link out with my name on it to just make sure that everybody was able to access. But yes, if you registered, check your spam. You should see a rewatch of this video later for sure.
And if you have questions, that info@charlestonarealiving.com, that doesn't go to some call center in Bangladesh. That comes to Mark and I's email. So, and our numbers are out there. Just if you have a question, throw us an email.
Yeah.
Perfect.
Lori has a question. Do any of the South Carolina communities require a down payment? Some Florida communities require 20%.
The builder.
Yeah, some of them do that you build from the ground up only. So Del Webb Nexton, for instance, most of the Del Webbs actually do require an end result of 20%. I have negotiated that number before to a much lower number. If you go look at their webpage, if you talk to them, they're going to say 20%. But that's actually not all at once. So what that would typically be is about $10,000 to get the contract started. And then after design studio, whatever the total after everything is all in, 20% of that. On a resale or even a spec home, it could be $5,000 or $10,000 total until you get to the closing table. It's kind of all over the board.
That's a great question. Just to kind of add in, Jerry and Jeff, what are some of the fees that they'll need prior to closing? So we talked about the 20% possibly, but obviously we want them to do a home inspection, right?
Yeah, if you don't want to do a home inspection, I'm going to talk you into it. So let's just agree that you're going to do it. I think it's the best $500 you'll ever spend on, especially on, well, not even especially on every house. Even though these are brand new houses, they're built by human hands. There's 20 different contractors that are doing it. I have yet to find a clean home inspection. There's typically 10, 15 items on a home inspection that we find. There's not normally scary things, but they're all things that are easily cleaned up beforehand. Jerry, is it required to pay for an appraisal before close, or is that covered at close?
Great question. So typically, yes, most lenders are going to require that the home buyer, the borrower, pay for the appraiser up front. We do not.
Okay.
So you can reach me through Jeff and Mark, but we do not require that the home buyer, when they're applying for the mortgage, they do not have an appraisal. Now, there is a consumer safeguard. Everybody that we work with is age 55 or older. So as a consumer safeguard, I will help them navigate. And it's required that they have a phone call with a third party, just making sure they understand how the lifestyle loan works. That is typically $150. So that's the only upfront cost.
So even if you were to do a conventional mortgage that did require you to do an appraisal, we're well under $2,000 for all of the costs up to before the day that we actually hand you the keys.
Correct. Yes. That is correct.
Awesome. I think that's all the questions. That QR code will also be on the closing video here as we close out. But that QR code will bring you right into schedule an appointment, right into our calendars. You can book a Zoom call with us. We can do one-on-one with you, answer all your individual questions as much as we can. If the lifestyle loan is something that you're looking to do as well, let us know when you fill out the form, and we can try to have Jerry on that call, or we'll set up a separate call with Jerry to kind of go over the specifics of that as well. Yes. Guys, any final words from you?
No, I'm super excited. I hope everybody gets a comfort level that this is a great place. I would not have gotten into real estate in the Carolinas, and especially focused on this 55 plus space, because it's an area that Mark and I really love. I'm going to be living in one of these. It is not a problem for you guys to have a Zoom call with us. I don't care if you're 3 years out. We encourage people to do a Zoom call with us now, if only so over the course of the next 3 years, once a week, once a month, I can send you an email that says, that neighbor that we talked about in the Zoom call, here's what's currently available. So you just keep an eye on it. A lot of our people often come down and take a day with us and go out and tour with somebody from our team, even a year before they're planning on moving, because we just want to give you a comfort level that South Carolina is what you're looking for, like it was for us.
Yeah. Jerry, we really appreciate you being on. Any final words from you, sir?
First, just thank you. I've really enjoyed the years we've spent together educating home buyers and helping them navigate the process of.
Sorry about that. I hit the
That's
wrong
okay.
button.
Just want to say thank you. Thank you very much. And again, if you're interested in the lifestyle loan and learning more, you can get to me through Jeff and Mark. Thank you very much.
Yes,
Mark, I have a
Jeff.
comment.
Yes.
I'm so glad it wasn't me that pushed the wrong button, because you would have yelled at me.
No, that was definitely me. I got a little trigger happy there. You know,
Everybody,
once
go
again-
check out our YouTube channel. That's my suggestion for you. We've really spent a lot of time on the state showing what's available here. Go check that out.
Yeah. Thank you, everybody, for joining. Scan that QR code here at the end, and we'll see you soon. Thanks, everybody.
Yep.